Folks, today let's talk about the fundamentals of Scrum. Because I noticed some people have skipped the fundamentals when they use Scrum. The fundamental requirement in Scrum is to deliver at least a releasable increment every sprint. Scrum does not require the increment to be released to the market every sprint, but having a releasable increment every sprint will leverage the organization's state of agility. Everything else you see on Scrum Guide is so that there can be a releasable increment every sprint. I do acknowledge that the term increment can be confusing for some people, so you can click the link up here to watch my video on the explanation on increment that I have already made. I will not explain what increment is in today's video. Some people have misunderstood Scrum as a series of mini waterfall. Scrum doesn't say the Scrum team must deliver everything that they have planned during sprint planning. As long as the Scrum team delivers at least one releasable increment that achieves the sprint goal, it's okay if the team delivers less scope than what they have planned during sprint planning. Scrum is not a scope-driven framework. Scrum is a goal-driven framework. The definition of done contains what needs to be done by the Scrum team so a releasable increment can be delivered within every sprint. The activities that need to be done include but are not limited to user experience research, design, writing documentation, development, testing, integration, and even governance and compliance activities. Scrum is hard because it requires a releasable increment delivered within every sprint. Because Scrum is hard, some Scrum teams take out some items from their definition of done. Well, this may make Scrum look easier to do, but it only creates perception over reality.
So, I would like to thank everyone for coming to our quarterly town hall meeting. I would like to share with you one of the strategies that we have implemented in the past quarter. One of our strategies was to make our company become more agile. We have hired the biggest agile consulting firm to implement agile in our company. So based on our consultant's recommendation, starting from tomorrow, all of you will use agile terminologies like sprint, which is just basically mini deadline, backlogs, which are just basically all of the things you need to finish every quarter, daily stand-up, which is just basically our way to ask you for daily status updates. You can also use other terminologies like story points, velocity, as long as you delivered everything on time and on scope. Is that clear? Are there any questions?
Yes, sir.
Yes!
Thank you. I would like to know whether we also invested in training everyone in technical excellence or maybe something like continuous delivery or DevOps.
What?
Downgrading or removing some items from the definition of done just covers up the incapabilities and also the root cause of the problem inside the company. Scrum is all about transparency. Instead of downgrading the definition of done to fit your current reality, here's what you should do instead. You should expose the gap and the obstacles from having at least a releasable increment within every sprint to everyone in the company. Not only to the Scrum team, but also up to the management level. If you're a Scrum Master in the company, I'm going to demonstrate to you how you can facilitate a discussion during sprint retrospectives to level up your Scrum team's effectiveness and also level up your organization's state of agility. In this demonstration, I'm going to use Miro as a collaboration tool, but you can use any collaboration tool that your company already subscribed to or purchased. You can start a retrospective by asking everyone in the Scrum team what are the things they need to do so there can be at least a releasable increment delivered within every sprint. You can time box this first exercise around 10 minutes if you wish. The answer to this question is what Scrum calls the definition of done. So when everything on the definition of done is ticked, that means the increment can be released to the public when necessary. So let's say what you see here on the screen is a sample of a definition of done. Your Scrum team needs to come up with their own definition of done. Do not just copy whatever I'm showing you on the screen right now. You can click the link up here to watch the video I've already made on the definition of done if you need further explanation on definition of done. If the Scrum team cannot tick all of the items on the definition of done every sprint, that means there is a gap between the current reality and the ideal situation. If the Scrum team cannot tick all of the checkbox on the definition of done, ask them what might be the items in the definition of done that they cannot tick every sprint. For example, the Scrum team may say that they're not able to tick the user acceptance testing or UAT every sprint. As a Scrum Master, make this information transparent not only within the Scrum team but also up to the senior management level, so the senior management team can help you reach that ideal state. After the Scrum team has identified the gap, ask the Scrum team again what makes it infeasible to do these things every sprint. The Scrum team may say that the user finds doing UAT every sprint is wasting the user's time, or they may say that the developers still do not know how to thin slice the product backlog items, or they may say that the developers do not know how to automate the acceptance testing yet. Whatever the reason is, ask the Scrum team to write it down, and as a Scrum Master, you should make those reasons transparent to everyone in the organization. After the Scrum team has answered that question, ask the Scrum team a follow-up question. What would the ideal scenario look like? For example, they may say that an ideal scenario is to have all of the acceptance testing automated. And lastly, to close off this whole exercise, ask the Scrum team what would be the first step to get to the ideal scenario. The first step, for example, may be asking for budget from the management to send all of the developers to training on DevOps, behavior-driven development or BDD, and also trainings on acceptance testing-driven development or ATDD. There are many ways where this will end up. The point is to lead the whole Scrum team to self-discover ways to increase their effectiveness in delivering releasable increments from time to time and never settle for status quo. You can keep on asking all of these 5 questions every sprint retrospectives until the Scrum team is finally able to deliver at least one releasable increment consistently every single sprint. It's also quite possible that your Scrum team isn't able to deliver a releasable increment, for example, in the next 6 months. But if that is the case, it doesn't mean the Scrum team and also the company should stop improving to reach that ideal state. Your agility should not be measured by how fluent everyone is in spelling out all of the agile terminologies available in the market or by how many agile certifications people have collected. Your agility should be measured by how effective is the company in continuously delivering a valuable releasable product in the shortest time possible to the customers. So, don't downgrade the definition of done to fit your current reality. Instead, level up the organization technical capability and remove any organizational impediments to upgrade your organization agility. Thank you for watching today's video, folks. I hope you find it useful. Don't forget to watch other videos on this channel that can help you level up your Scrum team's effectiveness and also level up your organization's state of agility. You can click the thumbnails here and there to watch all of the videos on that topic. I will see you in the next video. Until then, stay safe and stay awesome.